Good afternoon, students. Welcome back to 7th Standard Social Online class. Students, we are studying about history unit number 2, the Mughal Empire. Yesterday, we have studied about the Akbar, Jahangir, and their conquest and their contribution to art and architecture. Today, we are going to see about Shah Jahan. Who was Shah Jahan? Yes, he built Taj Mahal. Shah Jahan was the elder son of Jahangir. His original name was Prince Khurram. He started his career from 1627 up to 1658. Nearly 30 years he ruled India. You see this picture? This is Shah Jahan. Prince Khurram, after a struggle for power, succeeded Jahangir as Shah Jahan. Shah Jahan means king of the world. He ruled 30 years in India. He led a campaign against Ahmednagar and annexed it in the year 1632. That means he invaded Ahmednagar and he captured Ahmednagar and annexed in the year 1632. Later he captured Bijapur and Golconda. Some Maratha warriors called Shaji Bhonsle, he was the father of Shivaji. He entered the service of the Deccan kingdoms and trained bands of Maratha soldiers to fight against the Mughals. So there was a sustained resistance in the Deccan to the Mughals from the Maratha too. So Shah Jahan, he has to face the problems from the Marathas and Deccan side also. Shah Jahan was intolerant towards other religions than Islam. So Shah Jahan, he did not like other religious people, he liked only the Islamic people. In this period came the climax of the Mughals' blunder, which is detailed in the next part of the lesson. Shah Jahan fell ill in the year 1657 and there was a war of succession among the sons of Shah Jahan that was broke out. Aurangzeb emerged successfully after killing his three brothers, Dara, Shuja and Murad. Shah Jahan had four sons. His eldest son name was Dara, then Shuja. Aurangzeb was third son and last son was Murad. Aurangzeb, he killed his brothers Dara, Shuja and Murad and he became the next emperor of India. Shah Jahan passed the last 8 years of his life as a prisoner in the Shah Buch of the Agra fort. So this is the Shah Jahan career. During his last days he was in the prison and he died in the prison also. Now we will see Aurangzeb. He started his career from 1658 and he ended up to 1707. Aurangzeb, the last of the great Mughals, started off his period or reign by imprisoning his old father Shah Jahan. Aurangzeb, he assumed the title Alamgir. Alamgir means the conqueror of the world. He reigned for 48 years. Aurangzeb, he ruled 48 years. He was no lover of art like his grandfather Jahangir and architecture like his father Shah Jahan. He did not like art and architecture. You see this picture? This is Aurangzeb. He tolerated no religion excepting Islam. He reimposed the jizya tax. It's a non-Muslim tax. It's a religious tax on Hindus and excluded them from office as far as possible. Akbar, he gave post to Rajputs people, but Aurangzeb, he removed all the Rajputs from the official. Between 1658 and 1681, Aurangzeb remained in the north and suppressed the revolt of Bandelas, Jats, Satnamis and Sikhs. Aurangzeb's expansion in the northeast resulted in a war with the Ahoms of Kamarup, that is Assam. The kingdom came under the repeated attacks of the Mughals, but it could not be subdued totally. Students, see this Aurangzeb empire. This is also very important. He extended his kingdom up to South India. You see the pink color. So vast empire that was established by Aurangzeb. This is also a very important map. We have to practice this map. Now we will see the relationship with the Rajputs and Marathas. Aurangzeb, he hated other people. He hostility towards the Rajputs that led to the prolonged continuous war with them. To make matters worse, his rebellious son, Prince Akbar, joined the forces of Rajputs and created troubles to him. Prince Akbar entered into a pact that means agreement with Shivaji's son Sambhuji in Deccan. So Aurangzeb had to march to Deccan in the year 1689. In the Deccan, Aurangzeb brought Bijapur and Golconda into submission. Shivaji had carved out a kingdom, proclaiming himself the emperor of Maratha state in the year 1674. So when Aurangzeb invaded Bijapur and Golconda, at that time the Maratha empire was ruled by Shivaji. Aurangzeb could not stop the rising power of Shivaji in the southwest. So he vanquished Shivaji's son and successor Sambhuji, who was captured and executed by him. Aurangzeb remained in the Deccan until his death in the year 1707 at the age of nearly 90. By the end of Aurangzeb's rule, the British had firmly established their trading center at Madras, that is Chennai, Calcutta, and Bombay, that is Mumbai. The French also established their trading center in Pondicherry. Now we will see the Mughal administration. First we will see the central administration. The Mughals provided a stable administration in large parts of India. The emperor was the supreme head. For the whole of India, who was the head of the country? Yes, the Mughal emperor. He is in charge for the total administrative system and he was a lawmaker. All the laws are made by the Mughal emperor, the chief executive, the commander-in-chief of the army and final dispenser of justice. So the emperor occupied 4 posts. He was a lawmaker, he was a chief executive and he was a commander-in-chief of the total army and he was the judges. He was helped by a council of ministers. The most important officials were Vakil, that is a prime minister post, and Wazir or Diwan, that is in charge of revenue and expenditure. Mir Baxi was in charge of the army. The Mir Sama, he looked after the royal household. Quasi, he was chief judge. And Sadar Uz Zudar was minister for enforcing Islamic law, that is Zaria. Now we will see the provincial administration, that is the state government. The empire was divided into several subas. Subas means state or province. Each suba was under the control of an officer called Subedar, like our governor. The subas were further divided into districts called Sarkar. The Sarkar were again subdivided into Pargana. A group of villages, gramas, formed a Pargana. Now we will see the local administration. The towns and cities were administered by Kotwal. Note the word, so it will come for one word. The towns and cities were administered by Kotwal. Kotwal maintained law and order within town and city. The administration of villages was left in the hands of the local village panchayat, informal institution of justice in villages. The panchayatas jury dispensed, they gave justice to the village people. Now we will see the army. The Mughal army, it consists of infantry, cavalry, war elephant and artillery. 4 kinds of army they have. The emperor maintained a large number of trained and well-armed bodyguard and palace guard. Then Mansabdar system. Akbar introduced Mansabdar system. You underline the line. It will come for one word. According to this system, the nobles, the civil and military officials were combined. They joined to form one single service. Everyone in the service was given a rank. Rank means Mansab, meaning position or rank. A Mansabdar was a holder of such rank. Mansabdar rank was dependent on Zat and Sawar. The former indicated one's status. Sawar was the number of horses and horsemen he had to maintain. His salary was fixed on the basis of the number of soldiers each Mansabdar received, ranging from 10 to 10,000. The Mansabdars were paid high salary by the emperor. Each Mansabdars were paid high salary by the emperor. Before receiving the salary, a Mansabdar had to present his horsemen for inspection. Their horses were branded to prevent theft, because sometimes the enemy horses will be joined within their camp. So to avoid that one, the horses were given branded. The emperor could use the troops maintained by Mansabdar whenever he need. The rank of Mansabdar was not hereditary. It was not a traditional one during Akbar times, but after him it became a hereditary. That means if the father Mansabdar died, after him his son became the next Mansabdar. Students, up to this we will conclude the lesson. Today we have studied about Shah Jahan and Aurangzeb. Shah Jahan, he was the eldest son of Jahangir, and Aurangzeb was the third son of Shah Jahan. Shah Jahan, he ruled 30 years and his period was called as the Golden Age because during his period art and architectures were developed. The remaining portions will be seen in the next class. Today I will give one detail. You copy in your class note and study well. Thank you.